What is Georgia's biggest flaw right now on the defensive side of the football? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video because we actually have the answer because Glenn Schumann told us that this week. It was the first and might be the only time that we were able to speak with Georgia's defensive coordinator, and he had no problem saying what Georgia's biggest weakness was right now and what they are trying to tackle during fall camp. So we're going to talk about that in today's video. You can read all of this, by the way, for free over on dogpost.com. Every word from Glenn Schumann you can read over on the website. He dug into a lot of the players playing to the standards. He actually had a lot of praise for a lot of the guys, but he started off talking about tackling. That's what he said. He said, quote, "The number one thing we have to do better in run defense is tackle better. We did not tackle to our standard last year. If you tackle better, you eliminate yards after contact, and we need to leverage football better, specifically on the perimeter where the ball gets bounced out way too much." That goes back to trust and playing together as a unit. So one thing we've been really harping on is the right way to tackle, which we always do. That's not like this some unique thing, but our guys are very aware that that is an area where they need to improve. They know how to play Georgia football on both sides of the ball. We need to run the ball and stop the run. So again, all goes back to tackling. And it's fundamental. It's working on technique, doing it the right way, not blasting someone and getting kicked out of the game, right, for a targeting call. So they're working on the little things to tackle better. They weren't terrible last year stopping the run. Alabama did have a lot of success running the football on them. So did Georgia Tech. But there were times, just ask Texas, where it was really tough to run on this Georgia defense. They take a lot of pride in that. And it's about playing to the standard. And Glenn Schumann said right after that, he said, "We did not play to our standard last year. That's on me. It's on the coaches. We have got to get them ready better to play to the Georgia Bulldog defensive standard." He said, quote, "I don't think we were consistent enough last year to meet the standard. That's just reality. You can't have games against 5 playoff opponents, teams that made the 12-team playoff, and then play really well there, and then have 4 games where you give up 28 more points. Point blank period. It's unacceptable. We knew that has to be better, so you can't be up and down. Consistency is a mark of a great defense." Everybody in that room knows that when they came to Georgia to play championship level defense, players and coaches, players included. And so anything short of that is not the standard. So you're going to see me reading a lot of these quotes right now. I'm not the best reader, so I appreciate y'all sticking with me. But again, if you're a faster reader, you can read all this on Dog Post. We've got a great deal going on right now. You can get 3 months of Dog Post, basically the 3 most important months of the season, the first 3 months of the season, for the price of one. You also get our season preview with pictures in the magazine of photos you will not see anywhere else. They are photos from us. So get the magazine, 3 months of Dog Post, hard-hitting, groundbreaking analysis, right, for the price of one. So make sure you're checking that out. And again, you can read this story for free over on the website. A lot of free stories over there. A lot of premium stuff too. That's where the inside info comes in. But we want to make sure y'all are over on dogpost.com for the season. But Glenn Schumann, he's the best inside linebackers coach in the country. You can make the case he's the best defensive coordinator in the country. He knows they have to take a step forward, but he's got a lot of guys who are good, are really good. Guys that may not be household names yet, and guys that Georgia fans have heard of, haven't seen a ton yet. But he knows he's got a really good group. He said, quote, "I'm pleased with where this group is. I think they had a great offseason. I think we have size and I think we have speed." So those are 2 pretty important factors that go into a defense. You have to be big and strong, but you have to play fast. And this is an era of college football. And even at the NFL level, these linebackers are getting faster and faster and more athletic. And he's bringing those guys in. One of the bigger impact guys that they added through the transfer portal, Ella Mendoza, is already making waves on the team. Here's what Glenn Schumann had to say about his new outside linebacker. He said, "Elo is a bright kid. I just love that you wouldn't know that he hasn't been here his whole career, just watching him. From a standpoint of seeing him fit in with the guys, he's meshed with our unit exceptionally well. When you bring in a transfer, there's always an element of, are they going to fit with our people? When we bring people in, do we know that they fit our culture?" And he's done a great job of that. He's still learning. There's there was really just 6 practices in for him, but he's a really good athlete, played wide receiver in high school, and he said, I think as he gets more and more reps, he'll continue to see more and more of what he can do on the edge as a rusher standpoint and in that setting. But this is a kid who is smart, he's intelligent, long, athletic, and I think he could be Georgia's leading sack guy this upcoming season. Gabe Harris, obviously a veteran outside linebacker to know. Quintavious Johnson is a fast rising outside linebacker to know. He spoke a lot about Quintavious Johnson. You could read that over on dollarpost.com. Joseph Jonah Ajanye, a defensive lineman who played early as a freshman before getting hurt. High expectations for him. Here's what here's what Glenn Schumann had to say about his promising defensive lineman. He said Joseph's a great athlete for his size, listed at 6'4", 280. So big old kid, might even be heavier when we get the latest heights and weights. He said he has length that we look for in the defensive end position, and he has some natural power to him. And I think that for him, you're looking at a Michael Williams role where you want to be a guy that can go from playing inside the tackle to outside the tackle. And that's really what we need from him. With him not getting as many reps, I'm saying that every day he's getting better, and I'm really excited about what he's going to do for us this year. We had high hopes for him at the beginning of last year, and he did play, especially in that Kentucky game. I think that's where he got banged up, but former 5-star, this is a guy who looks the part, still learning the game, and I think he has a chance to have a truly breakout sophomore season. He talks a lot about C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson. Quote, the maturity level has always been high for those guys. I think their outward confidence, their leadership, how vocal they are, and how that translates to them playing their game. They're playing faster, they're communicating better, they're anticipating, not reacting. And that's what you love to hear, because year 3, that's when guys excel, not only under Glenn Schumann at the linebacker position, but on the defensive line too. And even in the secondary, Malachi Starks had a good junior year. I'm not saying that he consistently got better and better, because he was really good as a freshman, but specifically with the cornerbacks and with most defensive backs, but really with those linebackers, each of them that won the Buckus Award, Roquan Smith, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Walker, they took big steps forward from their sophomore to their junior year. Third year is when it all really, really starts to click. And like you said, you go from thinking, then playing, then reacting. Now they're anticipating. They know what's coming before it happens, so they can even get out there faster to make a play in the backfield. So when you're anticipating, reacting is great. You see what's going on, you react quickly. That's great. But when you can take a step further and anticipate before you react, then you're talking about a player who is just all over the field, and it looks like there's 5 of them out there. It looked like there were 5 Roquan Smiths and 5 Nakobe Deans out there, because they were anticipating what was coming next. These guys can cover too, and we know how talented they are. If you just watch them play, they weren't perfect last year, but these are NFL linebackers, and they've got NFL linebackers right behind them. And I know Glenn Schumann is really, really excited about this group. He also talked about Kristen Miller, the veteran experienced guy on the defensive line. Georgia definitely needs a big year from him. Here's what Glenn Schumann had to say about Kristen Miller. He said there's times when he's been at a really high level. The challenge there is sustaining it, because his level of intensity, effort, and his level of communication is just always there. It's always sky high, so you got to maintain that. His urgency is at an all-time high, which is what it needs to be. We need him to be a guy that can both anchor in the middle and also be really disruptive. It's really difficult to deal with the dominant pass rusher in the middle in terms of pocket push and winning matchups on guard and centers. The more he can do that, the more of that we need from our interior defensive line. Not just run stopping, but pass rush ability and ability to disrupt plays and push the pocket. That's what we need from him. So yeah, if you can get pressure from the inside on the quarterback in the passing game, there's no way for him to step up. Then he's trying to be mobile and escape the pocket. Then you've got the outside linebackers coming around. Then after that, maybe you got a middle linebacker going sideline to chase him down. And Georgia has that. They have size, they have speed, and they have guys who are still learning, still progressing, but they're eager and they're hungry to get out there and show what they are doing. And when you have a staff that knows exactly what they're doing, and they know how to teach, and they know how to make guys better, it's safe to say that we are going to see some of these guys really step up and have big years for the Dogs this year, whether it's Ella Mendoza, whether it's Jordan Hall, who's healthier now, whether it's a promising safety that's going to step up, maybe it's the number 2 cornerback. There's a lot of excitement for this group. There's a lot of talent. It could be one of the best defenses in the SEC. I expect it to be. I know that they are, there's a lot of snaps that they're missing from last year. 3 of the best players on the entire roster, all on defense, were in the NFL draft, but this is a very talented group. There's no doubt about it. And just watching Glenn Schumann speak, and again, you could read all this on Dog Post. You can tell he's really excited about this group. So I know it was a lot of reading, but we don't get Glenn Schumann often. He did have a lot to say, and you could read more about this in depth over on dogpost.com. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you over on the website.